Hello everyone, Chrisa is here, and today for our weekly video we will be looking at foot alignment during the shift of weight, and we will focus especially on where we should direct our step when we're going to the side, to the back, and to the front lastly. We're picking those other two directions because there hides a very common habit that is that brings us into a very injury prone position, and that would be bringing weight over a lot of weight over the big toe as we're stepping to the side or to the back. This is something that you can find it in different styles in tango, or as a preference, someone would say, as a stylistic preference, especially from followers. We're not looking at whether this stylistic preference is a nice one or not a nice one. We're just looking at the physicality of such a choice. And we're saying that from an anatomy perspective, if you want to protect your feet, your ankles, your knees, and your hips, it would probably be better to avoid that alignment and aim for the second and third metatarsal area, which would allow you to transition the weight towards your heel if you're going to the back or if you're going to the side in a more healthy way. So we're looking at a healthy habit, and we're not looking to make a stylistic statement. So with no further ado, let's get started. So we're going to start with last week's exercise. Elevate yourselves either over a yoga block or being on off your heel on one foot. And we're going to relax the free leg so we can find centration in our hip like we did last week. And then what I want you to focus on is how you transfer weight over that free leg. Notice that you're going over the middle of the foot. You can do it more than 3 times, but once you're ready, I want you to lift that heel and drop, noticing that as you're coming up, that heel is rotating slightly forwards, so towards the yoga block in this case, so you can keep your weight between the second and third metatarsals and not fall in towards your big toe. After a few repetitions, you're going to change over to the other side, and of course you can do more than what I did. This is going to be our focus for today. Finding this, and you can see it very clearly here, this area that's not too far out the outer edge of the foot, but also not over the big toe. And we're going to focus a lot on that. This is also a very good exercise, so you can find balance when you're wearing heels, or when you're simply walking, but also a great exercise if you have collapsed arches. So you want to strengthen not only the arch of the foot, but also that neural pattern that allows you to control how you transfer the weight, not over the inside of the foot, but along the outer edge. So usually what we do, we put our weight all on our big toe. We're not going to do that. I want you to find that area every time you step to the side between the second and third metatarsal area. So the weight is more spread through the whole foot compared to entering in through the big toe. You'll need to make adjustments over the whole chain, meaning all the way up to the hip. So the orientation of your foot, as you can see it here, but also the knee and the hip. And I'm turning over to the side so you can see a little bit what we're talking about. So avoid putting, as you enter the floor, see, I am not putting weight over my big toe. That's not my entrance. My entrance is straight for that second to third metatarsal area. The reason being is easier to make that transition, and you can see it here a lot better. Make that transition of the weight along the outer edges of our foot, which is what we have been working on. So not big toe, but there over the middle. So you can allow for the weight to travel around the edge of your foot where you have more support, and not over the inside where you don't have enough support. This is very good exercise if you have dropped arches, or if you're feeling that you're experiencing pain over the arch of the foot. And let's go back this time. We're going to do rebounds instead of full steps, just to flush through this moment of transition. Again, here you want to aim not for the big toe. This is a bad idea. You can see the misalignment even in the video, right? But aim for that middle area between the second and third metatarsals, and you can see how the weight transfers easily towards my heel. And this is a repeating pattern, right? So we're flushing through, and I'm just turning here so you can see me a little bit better. We're flushing through that moment of transition, trying to imprint that to avoid this habit where we collapse the arch, the ankle, the knee. We put all those areas at risk and imprint this habit of going for the middle of the foot. So if we're going to put these two together, so we can have a little sequence, and you can play some music as you're doing this. We would start from side steps, and you can change the size of the step, as you can see, and you can play with rebounds, side step, instead of just a stationary pattern of going left and right. I'm changing here the size of my steps just as an extra challenge. Usually when we go into smaller side steps, we tend to be too far in over our big toe. So that's why I'm incorporating this in our sequence. If you find this challenging, you can keep the size of your side step the same. You can also give yourself some time to focus on this transition between size, speed, and also direction. So we're changing our direction from back to side, or better said, from back and front to a side step. So notice how this happens and how that how the leg moves inside the hip to hit that new or direction and orientation. And we're also changing size and speed in our steps. And in this exercise, we're going to add a pivot, and we're going to be going into a back rebound. Now pivot to like a back ocho rebound, and pivot again into a forward ocho rebound. The reason we're doing this is because when we add the pivot, a lot of times we tend to miss that foot alignment that we have been working on, and that can be done on many things. But this is what it looks like, and this is the kind of misalignment we want to avoid, either falling too far out or falling too far in. Sometimes we step away from the center line of the body, and that causes that awkward and dangerous weight shift. Or sometimes we cross our feet too much, and again we end up in a injury-prone situation. So try to hit that middle second to third metatarsal moment on the free foot that you're stepping onto, but also on the foot that you're performing the pivot on, not to fall and pivot over your big toe or fall out. And last but not least, we're gonna put the side steps and these pivots together. So you're going to have multiple changes that you need to work on, of course, again, with the focus of finding that balancing point over your foot, either the foot you're pivoting on or the foot you're stepping over. And you also need to manage the transition of circular movement to linear, but also the transition between the direction and speed and size of steps. So this might be a little bit, quite a few things to focus on. So take your time, repeating all the exercises as much as you need.